Hello and welcome to This Week in Israel. Bogdan here, your host for the next couple of minutes. I hope that you are all doing great. And without further ado, guys, let's start with the quiz question for this week, which goes like this. To whom did Portugal exported the most in 2021 in terms of value? And the options here are the United States, France, or Spain. And guys, the correct answer is Spain with some $20 billion worth of exports, followed by France with almost $10 billion, while the United States was the fourth largest export destination for Portugal in 2021 with some $4.2 billion. And now, guys, with this extremely useful piece of information that you will most probably forget by the end of the day, let's move to the Freightos index, which once again moved downwards, this time with only a couple of dollars, which brings the overall index to $7,032 with big movers on the North America West Coast to China sub-index was up 7%. And North Europe to China one who was down 4%. As for the main head holds, as usual, I will start with the Trans-Pacific ones. And we have here $8,934 for the sub-index connecting China to North America West Coast, and $11,599 for the sub-index connecting China to North America East Coast. So basically both sub-indexes were down with 3 and 2% respectively. As for the crossways ones, here we have 1% drop on the sub-index connecting China to North Europe. So in absolute terms, we have $10,587. Most probably caused by the strike in Hamburg and heavy congestion in some of the North European ports. While for the sub-index connecting China to Mediterranean, we have a 2% increase, which in absolute terms translates into $13,288. So overall, there is not a big change. I think that carriers' capacity management started to kick in somehow, as spot rates are dangerously close to contract rates, if not lower in some instances. And guys, the next couple of months, if you ask me, are going to be really interesting. Summer in the Northern Hemisphere is just at the beginning. Everybody is planning their holidays. People and why not businesses are more optimistic during the summer months. And my guess is that once this post-lockdown revenge spending fades out, we will witness the true nature of the inflationary pressures, especially here in Europe, which is heavily dependent on Russian gas and oil. People will have to think about how to pay their energy bills. They will save more and spend less, of course, on products and services. Business at their end will order and import less, and inevitably we will have some big pressures on the cross-Suez freights. But anyways, I don't want to be too pessimistic here. I hope that the European leaders will have the resources to contain these pressures and that we will not witness an economic contraction. So moving to the news here, the first one, guys, it's coming from the European Chamber in China. It's from May 5th, but unfortunately I got my hands on this report just last week, so I will include in week 25 reel. And basically, it's about a survey on the impact that China's COVID-19 policy and Russia's war in Ukraine are having on European businesses in China. And personally, I will extrapolate these findings to be useful also for the US businesses in China. And basically, these two factors show that European businesses are now considering shifting current or planned investments out of China to other markets. We have here a nice breakdown, and I will highlight just a couple of them. So basically 60% of the respondents have decreased their 2022 revenue forecast. 70% of them feel that China is a less attractive investment destination as a result of its more stringent COVID-19 restrictions. And finally, rising material and energy costs, which is not necessarily a local Chinese problem, but a worldwide one, if you ask me, are having a negative impact on 63 and 58% respectively of the respondents. Now, I don't want to be the one believing that everything that flies can be eaten. I'm sure that this press release has some ulterior motive, like, I don't know, sending a message to the Chinese leaders. But the fact remains, guys, if the zero tolerance approach is kept in China, foreign businesses will move their operations in other locations with more lax rules. And here, both Vietnam and India could take advantage of this situation. So that's my first news, guys. The second one is coming from Mer News Agency. I hope I've pronounced it correctly. And it's about Iran's exports towards Turkey, which in the first 4 months of this year hit the $1.2 billion mark, showing year-on-year growth of roughly 60%. Unfortunately, we don't have here a breakdown in terms of Iran's exports towards Turkey. But from what I've managed to get my hands on, most of Iran's exports towards Turkey involve plastics, copper, aluminium, zinc, and a lot of pistachios. Of course, these are just the main products. And to give you an idea, guys, the $1.2 billion exports towards Turkey in these 4 months are on par with the 2020 total exports. So clearly, the trade relations between Turkey and Iran are getting stronger in this difficult period for Turkey, with skyrocketing inflation. And speaking of inflation, guys, my next news cover this topic, and here we have a nice map from Pew Research Center with the highest and lowest inflation rates. And speaking of Turkey earlier, well, it has the largest one, at least from the countries who publish this sort of data, almost 55%. Russia, Finland, or Brazil are in the 10.1, 14.9% bucket. Central, Western Europe, and United States are having a lighter hue of brown, and I think it's in the 7.5, 10% bucket. While South Africa, Canada, India, Australia are in the 5.1, 7.4% bucket, while the top performers are the Southeast Asian countries, together with China, Japan, and I think it's Saudi Arabia, who seem to have contained their inflation better. And at the end of this article, guys, we have a nice sum up on how the inflation developed in the last 2.5 years. From, I don't know, an inflation felt early into the pandemic in Indonesia to, I don't know, Japan, who is still struggling with inflation rates that are too high. Anyways, it's an interesting 5-minute recap. I highly recommend you to check this article. As usual, you have the link in the description down below. And guys, I will now move to my next news coming from CNBC. And here I will be as briefly as I can. And basically, it seems that Australia's leading wine industry body, which is Wine Australia, will be closing its only physical office in China after sales plummeted to a fraction of its previous volumes, because if you remember, China imposed tariffs on Australian wines in late 2020 or early 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And now Australian authorities have to wait for the WTO dispute settlement process to finalize and, of course, present its findings. And during this time, United Kingdom dethroned China as the top destination for Australian wines exports, although United Kingdom's market is less than half of the size of the Chinese market at its height. Putting additional pressures, if you ask me, in terms of price on other traditional exporters towards United Kingdom, like South Africa, Argentina, Italy, or France, all battling for a share of the UK market. But anyways, as I've said, Australia it's waiting for the WTO resolution, a long and slow bureaucratic process, and it's worth following up on this topic when, I don't know, something new emerges. So until then, I will move to my last news. Bear with me, guys. It's coming from the European Union Commission as the EU and China kickstarted or relaunched, rather, an ambitious trade agenda which dates back in 2007 when both sides formally opened negotiations, but were put to a halt in 2013 because they were chasing different objectives, mostly concerning climate change and intellectual property. And now it's interesting to see how the European Union courts India and choose to turn a blind eye on India's recent export ban on wheat. It's more than a free trade agreement, if you ask me. It's about making an ally in the region, and why not to add some counterweight on China's influence. United Kingdom is also courting India, by the way. Their talks are more advanced. They are having the fourth round of negotiations this month, if I'm not mistaken. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised to see the United States embarking on a similar mission with the same rationale to counterbalance China's influence. And why not even prepare a landing beach for the US companies willing to move away from China? Anyways, it remains to be seen what these negotiations will produce. But in this moment, if you ask me, India is in a really privileged position given the current geopolitical shifts. And guys, with this being said, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. I really hope that you've liked it. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons below. And of course, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.